guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I know it's been a while. I haven't done any YouTube videos for probably like a year and a half. I just want to get back into it and do way more fashion videos, story time videos, relationship videos, and I actually was thinking of bringing my podcast to this channel. If you guys don't already know, I do have a podcast. It's called Spill the Tea with Cece, and it's currently on iTunes and also Apple Podcast and also on Spotify. Basically, I talk about everything from relationships to advice to business, and it's a whole pot of lots of things. I really wanted to bring this to the YouTubes because I feel like, you know, people are more visual, so I feel like I should have a podcast and also a visual podcast. So I really want to bring this to my channel because I know a lot of people tell me I'm very self-expressive. As you can tell, I can talk with my hands, maybe because it's my Middle Eastern Italian heritage. But yeah, people love to see my expression, so I thought, why not? Let's just do it all on YouTube. We're gonna start this channel the right way. I feel like I've been absent for quite a while. I don't want to talk too much, but let's get right into it. So for today's video, I actually have been requested by a few DMs. I'm not gonna say a complete lot because that would be a couple of people told me that they would like to know how I started blogging and then how I eventually became an entrepreneur. So I will talk about everything that I do in this video. So first things first, before I started blogging, I was actually a sales associate. Believe it or not, I feel like a lot of people started like that. I was working at a couple of different retail places, and prior to that I was actually a cashier. So my first job was a cashier when I was 16. I knew from that moment on I wanted to start my own business. I knew before at 4 years old that I wanted to be a star. I wanted to do something to impact the world. I wanted people to know my name, and not just for to boost my ego, but because I knew I had talent. So everything led up to me doing this and being here. When I was a sales associate, I saw someone, and her name was Julia Matian. I think that's what her last name is. Back then, I think that the blogging industry kind of started to take off. You can only be a blogger, I believe, was when you had a website, so when you had a blog. And there was no just being a blogger on Instagram and posting pictures. I remember I was working actually at Club Monaco, so that's where I was a sales associate. And I saw her walk in, and she said that she had a collaboration with Club Monaco, and she just needed a couple of items to style for a video or for pictures or whatever. And I was there to help her, and she was super sweet. Remember at that time she was with her boyfriend, who was currently her fiance, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. She told me what she was doing, that she was a blogger, she had a manager, and then she was going to move to Paris to pursue her blogging dream. And I was just very fascinated by that, but I didn't do anything because in 2016 it was still brand new, and I was like, I don't know about this whole blogging thing, but I checked her out. I follow her. I liked what she was posting, and I was like, oh, that seems very cool. Just to give you guys a backstory, this is actually not how I went into blogging. It's not oh, I met Julia and then boom, I went into blogging. No. So what actually happened is I was dating someone back in the time. So I was with someone who was unfortunately very toxic for me, and I recently just left that whole relationship scenario, complicated situation. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys already know that I can be a lot, and there's a lot of drama that happens in my life. That's why I am on YouTube talking about it, because it's actually funny in a sense, but not really. But it's still funny when you talk about it. When you look back on all the stories, it's actually really funny. So anyways, I was dating someone, and it was very toxic. And anyways, he did something really foolish in 2016 that I will never forget, and it was kind of like the pivoting point in my life that made me start something on Instagram. So it was not blogging, but I just want to give you guys a backstory that we had a terrible fight on the phone. I don't want to get into details. That could be another story. If you guys are interested in knowing what the story is, just comment below, like, I'm interested, girl, spill the tea, and I will spill the tea. So bad what he did. And it was no cheating, no nothing like that, if you're wondering, but it did involve another girl, and we were not together but anymore, because here's the thing, our thing was so complicated, and it was like very like on and off. Hi baby, hi baby, oh my love, Louie, come here, oh baby, my bunny just wanted to make an appearance. Hi baby, hi baby boo. Currently petting my bunny because he requested so, and he is the king of the house. His name is Prince Louis. I can link his Instagram too, because I am such like a crazy bunny extra mom, like so. So back to the story. So as I was saying, just did not appreciate what he's done with that other girl. If I wish I could say other words, but we're not gonna go there right now. I was so mad at what he had done that I cried for like, we were on the phone for like 6 hours, and I was crying the first like 3. I had cried the previous night. I just didn't sleep. It was so bad. And then I just lost it because he was getting mad at me for something that was so ridiculous. Anyways, I remember getting so frustrated that like I just told him on the phone, okay, if this is what you want to do and you want to make this problem with me out of absolutely nowhere, then no problem, you could do that, but I'm gonna write this shit. I'm gonna write a book about this whole thing. If you want your revenge to be with this other hookup, then my revenge will be to be successful with a book. And I hung up. I don't know why I said this. I don't know why I talked about this. I was like, I'm gonna be successful with a poetry book. I don't know why. I was like, it was just a shock to me. As soon as I hung up, I was shaking. I did not like how I feel. I just didn't expect for this conversation to end this way. I didn't expect this whole situation to happen. Why a poetry book, you ask? I know you're gonna ask, why a poetry book? I have been writing poetry since I was 14, ever since like my first heartbreak with like this stupid boy back in high school. I just never thought about making a book out of it until he pissed me off to the point where I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna be in your face, you're gonna see me everywhere. I had already an Instagram page, but I just used it like, I had probably like 100 followers. And so back then in 2016, which happened in 2016, I just like started posting my snippets like of my poems. And I took a lot of inspiration from like Rupi Kaur and all these other like Insta poets, but I was truly a poet. Like my poems were like Shakespeare sonnet, and they were like 2-3 pages long. So I had to like condense them into just like a little snippet on Instagram. And so when I would post, back then the algorithm on Instagram was amazing. Like it was fabulous. Every time I would post, I would get so many likes, like 3,000-4,000 likes, and I only had like at that time, like my following count grew so much. Like I would just use a couple of hashtags and I would have like 100,000 reach. Like it's crazy. And then I would reach like 1,000 followers every single night. Like it was that crazy. 100, right? I started with 100. I went to like 5,000 in like a month, and then I went to 10,000, 20,000, and 30,000. And by then I was only like 5-6 months in, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, how did I get so many followers? And then I just decided like, okay, now I built my fan base. Let me start writing the book. Self-published the book. I did it on Amazon. If you guys are interested in the poetry book, which I'm so over by now because it's been so long, it's called The Road of Us. I will link it below also. It did quite well because I marketed it myself. Everything was like me. except that like obviously Amazon printed it, but like it was all me. I still can't believe that I did this because I did not expect to actually like write a poetry book. After this, a whole bunch of other things happened with this fool of an ex-boyfriend. I will not say his name ever. If you ever ask me to say his name, I will never. He will always be named, actually nameless. He who shall not be named. I wish I would have dated Voldemort. He would have been way better to me than that fool was to me. Anyways, back to the storyline. So a lot of things happened. You know, we talked again. He came back in my life, and you guys, I told you, like, recently got over it. Like, recently just left, and it's our whole situation. Like, I've met him when I was 20. I'm currently 27. I'm gonna turn 28. Like, it's been a long time. It's been years. Difficult because he was my first love, but anyways, that point when I finished that book, which was, by the way, like 300 pages long, 316 pages to be correct, pretty much like over it after like a year of marketing myself, because it did quite well, but I was just very over it because as an artist, you grow out of your feelings. I didn't have those same feelings that I used to have when I wrote this book. I just decided to like throw that away, this account that I had, because what I thought that I did for myself, I actually did just to get like revenge on this person. And so I was like, am I doing this poetry account for him or am I doing it for me? When I knew that the answer was for him, I immediately switched to, and then I thought about Julia, and I thought about, oh my god, how much I would have loved to always start my fashion blog. That's when it all started. So I started this in late 2018. Prior to that, my poetry account, I just really posted sometimes fashion pictures and like mostly poetry. That's actually the story of how I started blogging. I know you guys were not expecting this dramatic story, but welcome to my life. Now that I have told you that how I became a blogger, how I jumped into entrepreneurship was really based on the story that I told you before, that I always knew that I wanted to be my own boss since I was like 16. So December 9th, 2020, beautiful pandemic world where people don't go out, and if they do, they wear masks, and you know, everything changed like that. I had this idea, and it was just a very random idea. Like in the middle of the night, I was thinking, because I love to drink tea. If you don't know this already, I love to drink tea. I'm obsessed with tea. Even, you know how some people are obsessed with coffee, I'm obsessed with tea. Like I could drink 4, 5, 6 cups of tea a day. And I had this like my favorite like tea that I always made, which was an afternoon tea. I love me a black tea, and I love to pour milk in it and honey. I just and I'm going vegan, so, but milk I don't really use anymore. Like I use oat milk, pea milk to put this in my tea all the time, but it was so annoying to always do those 3 steps. I always knew that I wanted to do something out of my life, and I just didn't know what it was. Like I just knew, okay, I want to do something, but what the hell do I do? Then I started really looking into this. On December 9th, like I said, late at night, I had this epiphany of, hold on, I always make this tea, like literally a 3-step way of making my favorite afternoon tea. I got this recipe actually when I was in London. The best tea I've ever had, like best afternoon tea. They used the like best milk, but obviously it was like so heavy. Like it was a heavy cream milk, but it was so delicious. And I could never get that taste out of my mouth. And I loved how they did it. So I was like, is there a tea that's already like a 3-in-1? Is there my favorite tea that I always make? Is there a type of tea like that online? And I was researching everywhere. I went on Google, I went everywhere on Instagram, and I couldn't find anything. So I was like, let me just create it myself. That's how my company was born. My company is called Cece's Tea. So it has everything linked to like Spill the Tea. And actually the idea came from my podcast, Spill the Tea with Cece. Cece's Tea came out from, you know, wanting to find a solution to the afternoon tea issue of always doing a 3-step to have the best cup of afternoon tea you will ever have. And guess what, you guys? I did that. So I found a way to incorporate 3 steps into one. Did it in an organic way, and I did it in a healthier way, no sugar and no milk added. if you guys are interested. By the way, I named it Her Royal Majesty. Obviously, I have Miss Queen Elizabeth I here. I'm very obsessed with everything royal, as you can tell. This is actually my apartment, which I will be doing a tour soon of it. It's coming soon. It was a bestseller tea, actually. I sold out in one day, and I was so happy. I did not expect this. I was like, even if I just sell one, I will be happy. And then I wake up the next day and boom, it sold out. I had tears in my eyes because I didn't expect this type of response from people. If you guys are interested in yourself a cup of tea, darling, then you can just head over to my website. It's called cecsteashop.com. So that's my story, career-wise, if you want to say, of how I started blogging and how I became an entrepreneur. If you guys want to know more about me, any tips, advice, morning routine, fashion haul, house tour is coming, then just let me know below in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!